Hey everyone, is this little blue box from the 90s your secret trick for guitar tones? Let's find out right now. We're checking out Korneff Audio's Wow Thing. Wow Thing is a new plugin from Korneff Audio based on a little blue box from the 90s. Its original purpose was to enhance not great speakers. And we're not talking in the studio, we're just talking like your home computer speakers. You know, those little white ones that everybody had. You know which ones I'm talking about. They look like that. So the original unit was there to enhance those speakers, but audio engineers in the 90s found out that this thing holds some really great tricks for guitar tone. So let's check it out. Let's dive into the DAW. So here it is. This is Wow Thing, and this is from Korneff Audio, like we already said. It's currently in its default state, minus I did a little dry wet thing over here when I was dialing something in, but this is how it looks when you first get it. It's this blue see-through translucent box that you probably recognize from the 90s. We're going to go over the controls real fast, but if you want to jump to the audio examples, use the chapters down below. So you can see on the unit itself, there are 5 controls on bottom. Off on, which is like your plug-in bypass. Bypass for the wow circuit, which is different from the true bass circuit. This is another thing. So the wow control here and the true bass is how much of these enhancements you're going to be doing, how much wow you're going to add. If you're going to add true bass, how much do you want to add? So that's what these 2 controls are. And then volume is exactly what you think. It's overall volume. You could drive a little bit more. So on the left-hand side, outside of the unit, is your input meter and your input drive. On the right-hand side, output. You can reduce the output if you need to. Meters up on top. Cool. We've seen all of this in Korneff Audio plugins. Now let's go into something else we've seen. Click on the Korneff Audio up on top and you'll get inside the unit. Now, with other Korneff Audio plugins, you probably see more controls inside, but this is really stripped down. It was really, as you can see, it was just a bunch of capacitors and a big old microchip or a few. No big deal. But because this is Korneff Audio, we now have 2 different wow processing types, and our true bass frequency is selectable through this whole list that you see here. Okay, that's all the controls for Wow Thing and what you can do underneath the hood. Let's get into how this thing sounds. Okay, now let's get into our audio examples. I have Wow Thing on my guitar bus. You could do this on individuals, but for this example, I'm doing it on the bus. I only have 4 guitars, 2 main rhythm guitars, and a couple leady atmospheric stuff later on in song. We're not even gonna hear those in this example. We are listening to our guitars inside of the intro of this song. So it's the full mix, the drums, bass, and guitars. But listen for when we turn on Wow Thing. This is really what it's doing in its default state, and you'll find out why a little can go a long way. Take a listen. So you can see it's really shooting out of the speakers. Yes, there is a bit of a volume jump, but in its default state, you can see how there's so much harmonic content. The upper mids are shooting out of the speakers at me. So if I need just a little bit more presence, I can use just a little bit of Wow Thing, but that's not all it's doing. It's adding some separation. It is giving us some even wider guitars. And if we start dialing up true bass, it's gonna bolster the low end of the guitar, and we can manipulate that by going under the hood. And maybe we actually want a little bit of 150 on our guitars to really chunk them up. That's something we can do. So let's have some fun. Let's switch it back over to the front and let's dial this in. Let's do it right now. right, now we're going to do something completely different because yes, this is built for guitars, so let's bring it to the low end of guitars. We've jumped over to our bass bus, which the bass is really just a bass DI and a bass amp. The amp has some distortion on it. The DI obviously is clean. I did the bass trick where I took the DI, just cut off all the highs above 200, and then I did the same thing but opposite on the amp where I just want all of my high end. You've done the bass split trick. If you haven't, ask me in the comments and I'll make a video on it, but you've probably seen it before. So here is Wow Thing, and I'm going to turn all of the wow off and even bypass it, and I'm going to use true bass only on the bass guitar in the mix. Let's take a listen. Pretty crazy, right? That's the bass soloed. Now let's listen in the context of everything. Really cool. It's bringing up the low energy, but not making it like woofy or really getting in the way of our kick drum. It's just a nice, subtle enhancement of the low end without just getting too cruddy. Then you heard what it did on guitars, and that's really where the bread and butter of this plugin kind of shines, but don't let its intended purpose be its only purpose. Be creative, have some fun, check out what Wow Thing can do on other sources. Really try this on keys. This is going to be really cool on some of your keys, your synths, or things like that. So head over to korneffaudio.com and pick up your copy of Wow Thing right now. That's all this time. Have some fun and make your audience go wow. Until next time, happy mixing, and I'll see you then.